Hello, welcome back to DoMagettiIELTS.com. Today we're going to look at the structure of another task 2 writing topic. The topic, or should I say the type, wrong word, is the advantages and disadvantages essay. There are 2 types of essay relating to this topic. They have the advantages and disadvantages essay, which gives equal weight to both sides. So you have to explain both. But then we also have do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, or vice versa? So these 2 questions are very different, and many students have written essays which haven't actually answered the questions. Advantages, disadvantages is much easier, because you have to talk about the advantages, you also have to talk about the disadvantages. Now, in the second one, if you say the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, you still have to talk about the disadvantages. The only difference is that your essay will be more weighted in the favor of what you agree with. So, for example, if you said, let's think, do you think the advantages of homeschooling outweigh the disadvantages? If you think they do, you could explain why you think that the advantages of homeschooling outweigh the disadvantages. But you would also have to kind of touch on, that's the word, you would have to touch on the disadvantages, so you could mention them. But the focus of your essay would be that you agree with you think the advantages are much better or stronger than the disadvantages. So you could say the disadvantages of homeschooling is that children don't get classmates, or they don't have anyone to talk to. That would be a disadvantage. So you have to mention it. You can't have an essay where your whole essay is based on the advantages, because that would get you a lower score, because it doesn't answer the question fully. So in this video anyway, we're going to deal with advantages, disadvantages, and in subsequent videos, or a subsequent video, we're going to look at, do the advantages outweigh? Okay, here are some recent questions from the exam on this question type. I've given 3. Nowadays, with the advancement of technology, people can work and live anywhere they want. Discuss its advantages and disadvantages. In the past, when students did a university degree, they tended to study in their own country. Nowadays, they have more opportunity to study abroad. What are the advantages and disadvantages of this development? With increasing competition, companies want to work 24/7, and in order to fulfill that, they offer a higher pay for working in shifts. What are the advantages and disadvantages of working in shifts? Okay, just a quick note here. Some of the titles ask you for your opinion. Clearly, do you think? What's your opinion of? But there is also the discuss, or what are the? They're asking you, what do you think the advantages are? We want you to discuss what the advantages and disadvantages are. This is your opinion. Yes, so basically they are asking you for your opinion, even if sometimes it's not stated. Okay, steps to take. Understand the question, understand the task, understand the topic. So basically you're being asked to talk about the good and bad of each thing. This is the simple explanation. Advantage, disadvantage. You have to know what to do. Write about good, write about bad, also give opinion if warranted. You also have to know what you're writing about. We're writing about working shifts. So we're going to, because we've got that, I've chosen this. So we're going to talk about what the advantages are and the disadvantages are in shift working, working in shifts. So this introduction here is giving us a bit of a background as to why people are working in shifts. So it's not talking about higher pay and competitiveness. It's given us those as reasons why people are working in shifts. So the question is simply, what are the advantages and disadvantages of working in shifts? So don't let this distract you. Bear it in mind, 24/7, competition, higher salaries, they can all be introduced into the essay as reasons, but make sure you focus on the question. So we need to look at subtopics. Companies, 24/7, competition, offer higher pay. These are part of the topic, so therefore you must focus your essay around these points. I shouldn't really say that. What I mean is bear these things in mind. The question is still about advantages, disadvantages of working shifts. So I've written some ideas, chance to earn more money. Shift work is often longer, 10 to 12 hours, not all the time, but that's why I've written a chance. Doesn't mean you will. Choice of working hours can be more ideally suited to certain groups of workers. Chance to travel during off-peak hours. So instead of going to work during the rush hour at 9 a.m., coming home at 5 a.m., you could go to work at 6 a.m., avoid the rush hour. Come home at 2 p.m., avoid the rush hour. Okay. Also, the workers help the company to be more competitive. If the workers put more effort in by working shifts, that helps the company. Okay, so again, these are ideas. Put down as many ideas as you can, because you're going to sort through and choose the one that you think you can develop. Disadvantages. It's not suitable for everyone. If families work for the same company, they may not see each other. Because of working different shifts. Sorry, I'll have to change that. The possibility of having to work longer hours. As I said in the advantages, there's a chance to earn more money, but that often can come with shifts can be longer than regular hours. To keep up with competition, more demands could be made on workers. Again, these are ideas. Some of them are not that good, but it doesn't matter. This is when we're writing them down and sorting them out. Choosing and developing our ideas. Okay, so again, we're choosing and we're going to follow our paragraph structure from the video that I introduced this series with. Topic, reason, supporting, example, summary. So I've chosen two. Choice of working hours is not exactly the topic. It's really to do with members of the family choosing different hours. So you'll see in the essay that I've kind of changed that. The reason, childcare. Proportion of money goes on childcare. So what I've done is I've used the example of a married couple or a couple partner, man and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, who have children. And in the second example, I've talked about same situation, people who are married or in a relationship who work doing the same thing, opposite shifts, causing relationship issues. Okay, so let's begin. That's the original topic. And if you saw my videos before, I always suggest that you break the title down into chunks, which I've done here. So paraphrase, 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 paraphrase. So due to increased competition, companies want to work 24/7. Businesses need to be in operation 24/7, 24 hours per day. Same meaning. In order to fulfill that, so to achieve this, say meaning, they induce workers with higher salaries. To induce, to persuade. Look in the dictionary, you will find that word. They offer a higher pay to do shift work for working in shifts. So again, you should know how to paraphrase. At this point in your preparation and in your study, you should know how to paraphrase. Okay, thesis statement, introduction of advantages and disadvantages. We put them together. Example, there are benefits such as family members working different shifts, and this can also be a hindrance for different reasons. So the same thing can be good or bad. This essay will provide support for both aspects, meaning good and bad. This essay will highlight both the benefits and the drawbacks of working shifts for families, citing both saving on childcare costs and relationship issues, respectively. This essay agrees that there are both advantages and downsides to working shift patterns and will use savings on childcare and relationship deterioration as examples. So those three things again are saying the same thing. So we're going to expand our paragraphs, but this time we're going to write full sentences. Firstly, in its favour, if we take a situation where members of the same family work for the same company, then this could benefit them. So I've outlined what my situation is. Members of the same family working for the same company. You've got to explain this if you want to talk about childcare, because childcare is a result of a family or a relationship. If a husband and wife have young children, by opting to work different shifts, they could save money on childcare due to one parent always being available for this. So young children, childcare, one parent can do the role of childcare while the other one is working. It is well known that for working parents, the cost of care for their children is one of the main expenses they have to shoulder. This would alleviate the need for this expense. Thus, it can be seen that by splitting their work patterns, parents can make great savings. So there's my paragraph. Each sentence logically progresses to the next one. That's what you're aiming for. Paragraph 2. But at the same time, so I'm using a contrast introduction. There are possible downsides to this in the form of relationship issues. Again, possible. We're not saying that if you work shifts and your partner works a different shift, that it's going to happen. Remember, in your essays, if you're not sure that this thing will happen, always cast doubt. Possible, maybe, probable. Use these words to say that these things could happen, not they will happen. If parents work continuous opposing shift patterns, then they spend less time with each other, which can lead to problems within marriage and relationships, with couples eventually becoming strangers and the relationship crumbling. So then I've put in a complex sentence, I've expanded it. And this is where you should be doing that. When you're developing your essay, always remember, keep your topic sentences simple. Do your expanding and your complex sentences in this section. For example, there have been countless surveys which show that time apart is one of the main causes of marriage failures and of relationship breakups. Again, that's my example. Therefore, although the financial gains are clear, citing the previous paragraph, there is also the threat of ruined partnerships or relationships. Again, paraphrasing. So we go on to the conclusion. We restate the title, restate our points. We do not need to provide an opinion, but it is asking us what we think. The essay is, what do you think are the advantages? So we can insert an opinion. It won't hurt or affect your essay. To sum up, The gains and pitfalls of working in rotating shifts include extra income due to childcare cost savings, but also in relationship issues, so gains, pitfalls. Both sides have their merits and should be carefully thought out beforehand. In conclusion, there are both rewards and handicaps to shift working for couples. They can be measured in the gains of income, but in the setbacks of estrangement. Estrangement means people apart from each other. Like when people get divorced, we say that they're estranged. And the word estrangement comes from strangers. In summary, although working shifts have their pluses in the form of extra income, they also have their minuses in the form of possible separation. So couples could break up because of this. And again, in the first paragraph, I've introduced my point of a working couple. You have to stress what you're going to talk about, because I couldn't say working shifts means that people break up. It wouldn't make sense. So I've used an example of a couple only. That's my example. You don't have to use an example of a couple. You just use an example of a single person. It doesn't matter, but make sure your example is clear and you can develop it in sequence. Okay, that's the end of this lesson. So we suggest practicing this type of essay and get the structure firmly embedded in your mind. I've provided a finished example of the essay in a link below. So please look at the link and read the essay and look at the comments and points. So in our next video, we will be looking at the question, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, or do the disadvantages outweigh the advantages? And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe so you will be informed every time we release a new video. Thank you and have a nice day.